All right, this is No Stravini, early morning on a Friday. Friday, the beginning of the week, or the end of the week, or the beginning of my good times, both in boxing and comedy. I'm at full work and with all my engines in the ground. Now, this is a series of articles from the humorous Post. Now, I like the Post because it gives a humorous and right-wing perspective to the world, which I like to do myself. I likes to do the right-wing perspective. Now let's see, 31 with drug hookers during reps. Now this is scandalous. They had, because they've driven out all the good cops, they're making life very hard for them. The city, or the Soviet state of New York City, is trying to recruit more policemen, but they're not getting the cream of the crop. They're getting the bottom of the barrel. Apparently, 31 policemen are drug pushers, guys who don't know how to drive, and hookers, and also use what you call your basic poor judgment. Now, these guys, just a step above the criminal activities that they're supposed to, or the criminal element, I should say, that they're supposed to be taking on. Now, I'm usually all for the police. And I'm all for the unions, but the unions just say you can't fire these guys, even though they look more like the Hells Angels than our guardian angels. But but they're defending this, which shows the whole corruption of the city and from stem to turn that the whole place is corrupt. Of course, it's Democrat, so you know. And you say, wait, Vinny. You're a registered Democrat. That's just so I can vote against the liberals twice. Although there's no, well, I could go into the political situation here in New York. New York, New York, what a Soviet town. We're gonna grab the means of production all around. There'll be no such thing as free enterprise, and they'll own everything commie style. Pervy teacher gets pregnant. Now, this is a situation. It's just perfect. And I said, wait, because she slept with the 14-year-old boy and she's a girl of a legal age? Well, a woman, I should say, a school teacher and she's not a bad looking broad. Not a bad looking broad. And she showered with him, and that's how she seduced him because she was supposed to be, give him some homeschooling. Well, she gave him homeschooling, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, gave him some real homeschooling. Well, she's called a pervert, but it was all, it wasn't tie me to a bench or something like that, or, and let's do it in whipped cream, my boy. It was your conventional go into the shower, seduce sex. Now, in my day, we didn't have that. Miss Jackowitz was good look, but she was just a dream girl. I remember when Miss Jackowitz didn't wear a bra one day, and all the boys in the class, and we were about 12, 13, somewhere in that direction, and we're trying to look into her blouse. Well, you can imagine guys were falling down because if you saw her at the right angle, you saw, the nipples. Yeah, something. But that's as far as I got with any teacher, oogling. And then later on, she never wore, she always, bras were back. Ah, yes, 20th subway surfing. Now, this is the 200th kid who goes on the subway and jumps and surfs on the subway car. They used to call this the Darwin Award. If somebody got killed doing this. Apparently, Darwin is really working on his numbers now. I don't know. I think scientifically they say that young people like to take the chances with themselves. They skydive, they fight in wars, they do boxing, and later on you go, hey, maybe it's not such a good idea for me to skydive. Well, some people all do that. or go and ride the subways and the surfing. See, I'm normally a conservative person, and I would say, look, we gotta get rid of idiots. We gotta get rid of idiots. But I think they should surf. They could ride the waves. And of course, the sharks in the waters off New York, so that's a danger in itself. So would you rather be hit by an overhang or get eaten by a shark? You have a choice. Some people say, what are the odds? The odds of you being eaten by a shark are astronomical. Not off New York. Apparently, we're a feeding ground. And if you stay in the water and it's filled with sharks, your percentages of getting eaten by a shark go way up. It's not divvied off of the whole continental of the world or the oceans. Ah, yes, swoons for Slav savior Mel, Trump's wife. Because Putin has been leading Donnie along. He has. He said, "I'm going to make peace," and then he attacks even more viciously the civilian infrastructure and the poor people of Ukraine, and more because he thinks he's going to win. In his brain, he's saying, "I'm going to reestablish the Soviet Union, the Soviet Empire. Only it'll be a little gangster, a little capitalism left in there." Me and my cronies, my, well, bad. You're not immortal. You might lose the desire because right now you're having you're running out of men yourself, but you wouldn't have the North Koreans and some Chechens and Brazilians involved in the situation here. So maybe his thing will fall apart. But so far, the Russians are winning. But Mel said, "Look. We gotta send the right weapons." Melania, that's how she's a beautiful woman. And she said, "Send it to my Slavic brethren." And don't think what Putin wants, oh, it's a Slavic civil war. No, it's a Slavic civil war where you're cheating and you're doing dirty things. Shouldn't attack Ukraine in the first place. Ukrainians have suffered under Soviet or Russian for a long time. I could go into the starvation in the 1930s, you know, the wars that they had and what they did before, where they made Kiev and the Ukrainians a backwater. They've been betrayed for a long time. And now they've got their own little country and it's very nice. A little corrupt, what are you going to do? If you're under the Soviet rule, it's going to be a little corrupt. Because that's like a virus. You can't get their habits. Who befriends JD? Cheers. Oh, look at this. JD, the vice president, he took his wife, he took his kids to Disneyland. They just boo. They call me, activist of the pink mafia and the woke. They try to jeer him and his kids because you're separating the illegals from their children. No, you're separating the illegals from their captors because a lot of those people who brought them across the border are not their family. They're cartel people and they're selling these kids into slavery, into child labor, and God knows what, labor in a carnal sense. This is the truth. 300,000. And they're spread across the world or the country, and they're made into slave labor. Well, it's not going to work, my friend, because Donnie Boy is on the job. Retired and dangerous. I guess if you're a psychopath, you never retire. A cab driver just got shot by an elderly criminal, a guy who's in his 70s, late 70s even. The guy, he's in a retirement home. Apparently, he hasn't retired all the way. He gets a gun in and shoots the guy over a $40 cab ride. Maybe he thought it was 1971 when he originally went to jail for a while, and he had a long, record. As long as my arm, and my arm is fairly long. By the hand that feeds you. Oh, what's this? for letting pay for. Oh yeah, this is interesting. You know all those commies and radical Muslims were attacking our ICE boys and the Mexican mafia. Well, it seems to me what's going on here is they are being subsidized by the government. Kickback schemes, they have these organizations, they're non-profit, but you know who's profiting this? The Democratic Demonic Party. They're profiting. This is how they're going to win it. They see they underestimated Mr. Trump. See, they thought that they would get 20 million people in the country, and it would be such a mess to get them out that we wouldn't get them out. You don't know my Trumpy, the vicar of God, the Avenger. He'll fight to the end. He never gives up. Biting the hand that feeds you. This is ridiculous. Hamas, the UN, and miscellaneous left-wing organizations are evaluating the food that the Israelis are giving to Gaza. This crazy town stuff. First off, no country, none, except maybe the United States, has ever fed the population of an enemy country while they're at war with them. This is the truth. The Israelis are about as humane as you can get while fighting in an urban warfare situation. This is just a fact of life. Professor busted for assault on ICE agent. Yeah, some goddamn left-wing commie professor threw a brick or a Molotov cocktail or a gas canister at one of our boys, the ICE boys. Now they caught him. He's going to do serious time because he assaulted an Iceman. He's assaulted a federal officer, and that's all that's going to happen to him. He's going to do serious time. I put him on either alligator Alcatraz or Alcatraz. I would like that. They they should actually have some prisons in the Aleutian Islands. That's also the case of Alaska, and call them Alcatraz on the north side. Yeah. Professor Socking, this was the setup they had when they wanted to kill the president. I mean, the real president, Mr. Trump. That solo assassination with this mysterious guy. He's walking around there. Everybody knows there's films of him. What the Biden administration did, they're very clever. They won't put the most incompetent people on the job to protect the president. And, he's a 6'4" man. Yeah, get midgets, little tiny wee people. They look like the seven dwarfs were attacking him when the shot rang out, and it goes to his ear. And he thinks, and it just misses him. And that's why I know God is on our side. This has been a miracle. He got 2 assassination attempts on him. Didn't work out because divine providence. Well, God is on this side. More of Mash. Superman. Liberal propaganda? Yes. From what I've heard, I haven't seen the movie yet. Although it's not as heavy-handed as sometimes liberal and gets. It's going to be okay. It'll be okay. It won't be, they say he's an immigrant. Instead of saying humanity, an American way, it says humanity's way. No, it's the American way. They go, don't tamper with this thing. You listen, Hollywood. You hate America? Why don't you get the hell out? Go to Canada, your Soviet neighbors, our Soviet neighbors. What's that? Gig, family, gig, Gaza, and what am I saying here? I'll read this. Oh, incorrect. You know what? They keep on saying that Gaza was genocide, and And that's not genocide. Or maybe oppression, because the Israelis want to keep it an Israeli state, and they got to keep the Palestinians in check and make them a little bit of second-class citizens to some extent, because they want a Jewish state. But that's not genocide. Genocide is when you try to wipe out a people, which Hamas wants to do. They're the genocidal people, not the Israelis. The Israelis are going to die and they'll make a compromise with these bastards. Uh, but they can't. Because these people from wee little children, they've been told to be hate the Jews and also be bitter about the whole thing. And I say, hey, I lost the fight fair and square. Can't do that. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because it'll take divine intervention to stop this. I pray for it every day. Or maybe Trumpy be the divine there. The Avenger has a weight problem. Not that much, and he got the comb over. Petty larceny. You know what's happening in Times Square? Another time we have these illegals that coming in and stealing our jobs of the rickshaw people. We have licenses for these guys, and they're supposed to charge a certain amount. The illegals are coming in there by the thousands and overcharge. Now, I can't, I would like to go on a rickshaw sometime. I can't, because I don't trust it. I can't walk that. One day I want to go on a rickshaw and I can ride it like a Chinaman in Hong Kong. There, a woman, guy got frostbite in his house. And they had to take his leg off. And this woman cuts his leg off. And it's going to take it to her taxiderm place and have it as an exhibit. Look, the foot. Oh, and then she has to pay a $500 fine and maybe a little community service, and that's it. This is a rule. This is terrible. My God. Nurse, that's the liberals for you. They ruin the world. League of their own. You know what's happening here? The greatest female basketball player in history, the Tiger Woods for women's basketball, is a white gal. And the joke is, black women can't jump. Apparently, they can rough people up pretty damn good because they're Amazonian and they're roughnecks. It's a tragedy what's happening to Caitlin. His name is Caitlin. The woman can dunk. She can dunk what she can do. She's the greatest star women's basketball will ever have. And they're trying because women's basketball is controlled by the lesbians, bigoted lesbians at that. They want to do her in. But the stadiums are empty now. They're getting their dust deserts. She'll walk away. Maybe she'll go to Europe and become a star there. Or maybe she'll tame these bastards. Who knows? I don't know. Ah, Butler's failures. Yeah, Butler's failures. Yeah, that's part of the whole, for Mr. Trump trying to kill him. The jury's still out. They may try again. They may try again. Liberals being basically what they are. They have a bunch of homeless people and junkies in their little rich enclave there. And what they're doing is they're saying, no, 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 we're going to give you court so you can go back home. Or go wherever you're homeless, so you don't not at home, but we'll just send you out of here because we're liberals. And we don't like all this nastiness that we've brought upon the world and the country to have to suffer from it. Sex. Sex leads to arrest. Now, this is about what you call, they're giving actually having sex in a car bad name. And not that it's very good, because you don't want to be distracted. Apparently, these drug addicts, because they were on a little high, started having naked sex in the bathroom, or not in the car, or turning their car into a bathroom. This is very bad because, first off, you're distracted from the road. Secondly, you could, if you have an accident, if you're doing, some of these carnal things, you could chop off your hoo-hee. Not good, I tell you that much. Killer rampage. What's that? Oh, there was a guy, and they don't know the motivation yet, but I can suspect he went to a church and he shot it up. And now this is either the guy who got mown down by one of the parishioners or the cops. I don't know. There could be a few church attacks. You can bet if these church attacks were on a Muslim holy site or temple, there would be a big deal made out of it. But it's often season on the Christians. It's true. It's true. What's that? It's a trap. Uh, uh, Spain's starting to fight back, as in Europe, from the Arab invasion. I should say the Muslim invasion. Because some of these guys aren't Arabs, they're miscellaneous Muslims who don't assimilate into England or Spain, and they attack people. The thing is, if they were nice, they'd attack people and try to impose their ideology, the philosophy, and not weren't such criminals. They would just be incorporated into those societies as more, that's not the way it's going. It's like putting nitro with glycerin. You don't do that. Kaboom. And I think that eventually there's going to be civil war in Spain between the government and the immigrants against the people. Same thing in England. Same thing here. We're going to fall into a trap. You know what this difficulty is? Not getting too racist while people call you a racist or attack your race. If you, my advice is don't take them too seriously because they're not serious. Anybody who is, you know, of the woke racist people, they're stupid. What do you think them through? You're an individual. And if you have a little skin color here, like I'm not a bastard. And I will, if I see people who look like me, that means your immediate family, their tribal blood relatives, fairly close. So essentially, you're going to go until you get to know people as individuals, and then you value people that way. That's my opinion. It's uh, uh, how much sexual terrorists. They were using these hostages in a carnal way. Yeah, there was a few, the old beautiful young woman that was rescued by Israeli Defense Forces. And, I had wished that when I saw her being captured on paper, I went, and in the paper, and on the news, I was like, I prayed for her, and, she made it out. And in certain ways, like I thought she would. Ah, what's this? Begging for, so yeah. The left wing, the Democrats, are begging for a civil war. All their rhetoric, the violence that they're doing, they're over the top. And they'll lose. Even if they tip the numbers in their direction, it won't matter. They're dealing with winners, Americans. And ultimately, their choice of being racist in the left wing way is the concept of the choice of the loser. Too many winners in this country for the losers to win. What's what's this? Yeah. The Democrats are not talking about this guy's history of being a communist or a racist or a Jew hater. They're silent about it. And you have to think it's like Germany, when Hitler was rising, people didn't come out, you know. History repeats itself. Yeah, just go, Cuomo, come on, Mr. President. He won't be. Oh my God, if Mr. Nipple Earrings, if he had become president, I have mixed emotions just to quote him on the wrong thing. Yes, he was molesting people in his office. But I think they wanted to be molested. All of them sending their headshots of girls that look like him. Huh? No, what he did was he put all these old people and the COVID people together and wiped out a generation of old folks. And as a semi-old fogey, I said, I'm up to the late 60s. I look good, I think, except for the old weight. I wonder if really a chicken day. Oh, I'm so vain. Oh, God help me. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go now. Um, I think I'm dehydrated. Maria, Maria, Maria. I just met a girl named Maria, and suddenly I see how happy a man can be. See, I could have been in a show too. I could have been a showman. Was it, musical theater? Sure. I could have.